Happy Friday, everybody.
Hello.
Again, thank you for the introduction to, to what I'm going to talk about. A lot of the things that Eric was saying this morning are some of the things that I'm going to hit on. I have a book called Take Your Soul to Work, and so I try to read it every morning. Not always faithful with that, but most mornings I am. But yesterday, it said everything is on discipline, like on being stubborn, on waiting, on authenticity. Yesterday was discipline. And it says this: discipline is the art of reaching desired goals through a patient and deliberate routine of repeated acts and behaviors. It is a muscle that must be exercised regularly in order to achieve outcomes. On May 13, 1940, Winston Churchill gave his first address as Prime Minister of the House of Commons about national discipline. It was among his most memorable and influential speeches. He says, "I would say to the House, as I said to those who have joined this government, I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat. We have before us an ordeal of the most grievous kind. We have before us long months of toil and struggle." This was just a few years before World War II. Churchill did not pretend that circumstances were easier than they were or that the future looked promising. He was painfully honest about the problems facing his people and their need for discipline and determination. Such outcomes emerge incrementally as a result of constant and unwavering commitment. We all have goals, but not all of us have the commitment to follow through on those goals and achieve success. We get sidetracked, we discover obstacles. Our minds imprison us in negative thinking so that we begin to believe that we are incapable or unworthy. Leaders cannot model genius to others, they can merely exhibit it. Leaders can always model hard work to others for their emulation. So I started talking a few weeks ago about non-negotiables, and I gave you all a little worksheet, and you can do this or not do it. It's up to you. But it's kind of what I'm going to talk about. Several months ago, I came across a little thing on Instagram, and it said, "The magic you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding." Okay? So that work that we're avoiding is where we need those non-negotiables. Okay? So that's where we have to find those. So you have to ask yourself, what tasks am I avoiding? What areas of personal growth do I avoid? What relationships that you value need more focused attention? And what habits are causing me to be stagnant? Because habits, we have good habits and bad habits, right? I mean, there's habits that move us this way and there's habits that move us that way. So we have to determine, and that's kind of what this sheet is about. We have to determine where those, like, don't just pick a random thing. Make sure that it's somewhere in your life that you're concerned about or that you feel like you fall short in. That's where your non-negotiables need to be. Don't make your non-negotiable taking a shower or brushing your teeth. Like, that should just be a grown-up thing, okay? I mean, we want it to be non-negotiable, but I'm assuming that you all already know that you should do that. So make it in an area where you feel deficient or stagnant, right? Start small, okay? Pick the area that's most important, okay? One area. Don't, if you're just starting out with non-negotiables, don't pick one in every area of your life and try to go that, right? The small steps. We've been talking about building steps to get where we want to go. The steps need to be small, okay? Choose one habit in an area that you're most concerned about that you can modify and create the environment needed, right? I've talked for months about environment, about putting down the roots that you need. And I had my tree up here. Some of y'all haven't been here. Had my tree up here for weeks and weeks, talking to you about my tree with the roots, okay? So you want to, and this is going to follow along with the page, so you can work on that later. So what we need to do, all right. So I also talked several months ago about collaboration. But it's collaboration with you. Some of these pages are old, that's why they're falling down. They don't stick anymore. Collaboration. Does anybody have a paper clip? Sorry. Or a binder clip or something. Collaboration with your own brain, right? Collaboration is the action of working with someone to produce or create something, okay? That's how we collaborate. There's 4 things that our brain does. It very specifically does the things that it thinks that you want. Remember that, very specifically. If you're thinking about, thank you. If you're thinking about, can't wait to get home to play my video game, can't wait to get home and watch my Netflix show, I can't wait, and you're here, your brain is going to understand that you think that's the most important thing. If you're thinking about, I need to get on my social media, I need to make 4 posts, I need to do this, I need to sell a car today, here's my month, I need to sell this many cars in a day, and you repeat those things to yourself, they will become much more important, and your brain will automatically remind you to do those things. It won't become like, oh wait, where's my checklist? Okay, did I do this, did I do this, do that? It's good to start, like Eric was talking about, with that checklist. But after you do it again and again, your brain's like, oh, okay, I got it. That's what's important. It's not the video game, it's not the Netflix binge watch. That's what's important, okay? It's always hardwired to move towards pleasure and away from pain. We talked about this last week, taking the path of least resistance. It's just what our brain does, right? There's also, I sent you something through WhatsApp that's a Jim Rohn thing, if you could forward it on to everybody, because it was really good about how to kind of achieve some of this. All right, number 3, your feelings come down to 2 things: the pictures that you make in your mind and the words that you say to yourself. Because if you say to yourself, oh my God, it's so hard to create a post, it's so hard to make all these posts every day, it's so hard to find groups. No, it's not. It's just you're telling yourself, and your brain's like, oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. That's hard. Like, stay away from that. We don't need that. We want the things that make us feel happy and make us feel good, and our video games and our Netflix binge and, our Starbucks, they make us feel happy. Okay? And the mind loves what's familiar. So, this is a habit. The familiar is your habits. What is it familiar with already? Is it familiar with staying up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, being on X or whatever social platform there is, or reading news that's depressing? Like, it's familiar, so that feels better. It doesn't feel good to put your devices down and go to bed at 11 instead of 1, so that you can get up and do a non-negotiable in the morning, whether that's meditation or workout or spend time with your kids before they go to school. Like, it doesn't feel good because it's not familiar, okay? When I was listening to that Jim Rohn, and I'd heard this somewhere else before, our brains are hardwired to conserve energy and minimize effort. Now, does that sound like a way? That doesn't sound like a success program, okay? But a million years ago, we needed to conserve energy and minimize our effort because food was scarce and shelter was scarce, and right? But our world is different now. But that programming, that evolutionary programming, stays with us for a long time. All right. So let's talk about pain and pleasure. So pain is physical suffering or discomfort. It's also careful effort, great care, or trouble, right? As in, the artist took great pains to replicate the Sistine Chapel in a painting, right? He took great pains. Physical suffering or discomfort. How many people understand that when you change, this is This is part of the process, right? It's uncomfortable. This is why we don't do it. This is why we need non-negotiables. So you can get little tiny bits of pain at a time, okay? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Pleasure, a feeling of happy satisfaction and enjoyment. The pleasure, though, is not in the attaining the goal, it's in the striving. So we have to learn to collaborate with our brain to understand that pain is not going to kill us, it's going to cause us to grow, okay? Albert Einstein, and I had this up a couple weeks too, said we can't solve problems with the same thinking that created them. So if you've got problems in your life, it's because of a thought process, right? We talked about karma. Thought becomes a word becomes a deed becomes a habit, okay? It's because of all of that. You're thinking a certain way, you're saying certain things, you're doing certain things, and now you've created a habit, okay? So we have to retrain our brain. All right, so how do we stop taking the path of least resistance? That's the big question, right? How do we get out of that? You know, just going with the flow, which there are times when that is important. You do need to go with the flow. But most of the time, if you're trying to go somewhere in your life, you are not going with the flow. Going with the flow is leaving work and hanging out for 3 or 4 hours doing something with people that aren't your significant others and leaving them and not having a relationship with. That's going with the flow. Going with the flow is, okay, well, my friends want me to go here. I know I need to study, or I need to make posts, but my friends want me to do this, so I'm just going to go with them, right? That doesn't move you forward. It's fun, and there's a place for that, and we all need recreation. We all need that. But it doesn't take us where we want to go, right? So as we've said over and over and over and over and over and over again, create the right environment, okay? Eliminate what can cause setbacks, right? This environment includes where you live, what you listen to, where you work, who you associate with, what you think about, what you read, all of that. All of the input that you're getting, right? Eliminate what could cause setbacks. If you're trying to stop drinking soda and there's a 24-pack of Coke in your house, you're not going to stop drinking soda. You're going to take the path of least resistance, and for a day or two you're going to go, I don't need that soda. And that soda's going to go, oh yeah, you do. Sugar, right? Jonathan and I had a discussion about sugar. I wasn't very nice about it, but mint cheese. But there's mint cheese. My car just drives there all by itself. I didn't tell it to go there, but I'm here. I might as well get 4 servings of mint cheese in one day, right? You have to remove the things in your life that can cause setbacks in these areas that you determine where you need a non-negotiable, right? You're not setting yourself up for success if you do that, okay? Invite accountability. Someone that you know or trust or who wants to go on the journey with you. Invite accountability. Say, hey, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week, and I need you to check in with me and make sure that I'm going. Or if it's your partner that you live with, I need you to kick me out of bed if I don't get up on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I need you to say, get out of bed now, go to the gym. You said you were going to do this, and it was non-negotiable, and you told me that I had permission, because you're going to get mad at them if they hold you accountable, right? Seek supporting modes. What does that mean? It means, what can you listen to that's going to move you forward? Who can you talk to? Who can mentor you, right? Who can help you solve problems? Someone. If you have a friend that every time you talk about something that happened and they go, oh man, those people, they're so, and all they do is affirm why you're upset, they're probably not your best friend. You need the person that says, okay, well that sounds upsetting, but was it true what they said? Or Did you really react that way? Or could you have handled it better? Right? Speaking the truth in love, that's what the Bible says to do. Speak the truth in love, right? Seek supporting modes. And, invite accountability. Seek supporting modes. Both of those kind of go hand in hand. All right. So, what we have to do by making these non-negotiables, right? These become little habits, little micro habits. Like if it's non-negotiable for you, like say you want to start going to the gym every morning. Maybe what you need to start with is changing your bedtime so that you can get up earlier. Change it by 15 minutes and stick to it. And don't give in, because you are going to negotiate with yourself all the time about these, right? I do too. I lay there. Eric's like, oh no, she gets out of bed, but he doesn't know what's going on in my brain. I'm a snoozer. I set my alarm, but I allow myself 2 snoozes, okay? So I'm like, okay, if I set my alarm at 6:30, I can get 2 snoozes and I'll still be up before 7. But once I hit that second time, my alarm gets turned off and I start waking myself up. And it takes me a few minutes because I don't like to get out of bed. I like to sleep late. We are very late night people. Like I want to stay up all night and sleep late, and I just work better. From 3 o'clock in the afternoon till like midnight, I'm good. Like that's my magic time. Mornings are not. But I made it non-negotiable so that I can get myself to the gym. Sometimes I can't go to the gym. We have a gym in our garage. But I get up and I do the thing, right? Even if I do oversleep and I only have time for a 30-minute workout instead of my 45 to an hour, I get in the gym and I get it done. Like it doesn't matter. Don't use time as a weapon against yourself, okay? So what you have to learn is that challenges, when you start doing these things and making these non-negotiables, right? And doing them over and over and over and over and over and over again, challenges will become opportunities to you because you're changing the way your brain thinks, okay? Challenges will become opportunities. Is it a challenge that we lost yet another manager? Yes. But guess what? It's an opportunity. It was an opportunity for us to bring our core guys in there and say, what do you think? How do you feel? What do you want to, like, it's really a big deal for us that those people felt like they could truthfully express exactly how they feel and tell us, well, we don't agree with this, we like this, what about that? And we all collaborated, right? It was a challenge, but we had an opportunity to go to our core 4 people who've been here the longest and say, help us walk through this, okay? So challenges can become opportunities. We all agreed, it was unanimous. We agreed that Josh should get the opportunity, okay? Resistance becomes growth. The only way to make your muscles bigger is called hypertrophy, okay? Listen, this is what muscle hypertrophy is, and it's not pleasant. Muscle hypertrophy, oh shoot, that's my piece of paper. Forgot to get it out, sorry. Lifting weights triggers muscle hypertrophy, an increase in the size of muscles due to a healthy breakdown and repair of muscle tissue. In order to grow, something has to be broken down. Okay? Think about that, write that down. In order for you to grow, something has to break down. Your muscle tissue has to tear apart in order for you to get, that's why you're sore, it's why it hurts, okay? In other words, increasing demand on a muscle creates tiny tears in the fibers that grow stronger and larger as they heal, okay? You cannot become the best version of yourself without being torn down, without tearing away the old and growing back. You're stronger, the muscles are bigger, and lastly, we learn that pain becomes pleasure. We learn that that pain is where the magic is. That's the magic. The pain of growing, of being vulnerable, of admitting hard truths. Like, it sucks. It sucks to be a manager, y'all, sometimes, because we have to walk in a room with people and give them a hard truth. But there's growth that can happen from that. Growth for us as managers and as humans to be able to go in with grace and speak to someone and say, this is the hard truth, and let's get it fixed, right? So that's where I'm going to end today. So challenges will become opportunities if you collaborate with your brain. Resistance will lead to growth. Rejection, oh, I forgot this one. Rejection it can become confirmation, right? That's one thing I wanted to say. When you start changing your life and you start moving forward and you start taking yourself to another level, like Eric said, he doesn't have that many people to call anymore. Those people are uncomfortable because you're doing something that they wish they could do. They get all kinds of ideas about it. They want to tell you you're getting, you're going to be bougie, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Oh, you just, all you do is work, you go to the gym, you don't have time for us anymore. When people start rejecting you, it's confirmation that you're doing the right thing, right? I heard somebody say one time, if you're getting hit by arrows, it's because you're right over the target. You're in the right place. People are always going to sling mud. They're always going to throw shade. They're always going to wish to tear you down. Cancel culture is a big thing. Like, why do you think that happens? Because they're not willing to go through the pain. They're not willing to see a challenge as an opportunity. And sadly, many people in your life will not be willing to come on this journey with you. It's sad. It's frustrating, and that includes family. That's why some of our family doesn't work here anymore, because they chose to remain where they were, and it's okay. But we cannot do that. So, remember these 4 things. Learn how to change your challenges to opportunities, your resistance to growth, your rejection to confirmation, and your pain to pleasure. Collaborate with your brain, and you're going to find the magic. Look at the worksheet. I hope that you think about it, ponder on it. It can help you figure out where you want to make your first non-negotiable. Maybe you feel like you can do 2 at a time. Get it done. All right, everybody. Happy Friday. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.